Good morning. We are extremely pleased that you are here. It is good to come together for the purpose of co-creating. Do you agree?
Yes.
You're knowing what you are wanting?
Yes.
Are you enjoying the expansion of your desire, your personal desire? Yes. You like that? You like life showing you more and more that you want? How do you feel you're doing in relationship with your desires? Does it feel to you that you are getting more and more up to speed with your desires? Do you more often believe that what you want is coming?
Yes.
Do you notice how many of your desires have already fully manifested? That's really a wonderful thing. You know, looking at what is working is the best way to get more working. Because when you're focused upon how good the good is, the good gets better. When you're focusing on the pieces that are still missing, then you hold those places, those pieces missing longer. Law of attraction sort of works it out that way. You get what you think about, whether you want it or not. What you think about is what you're offering vibrationally, isn't it? And since you live in a vibrational universe where everything is responding to your vibration, it's really good to get a handle on what your vibration is, isn't it? Do you feel that you're doing that? Your emotions are letting you know? Can you feel, do you ever find yourself saying, well, that day turned out about like it should have? Or, I saw that one coming. Oh, I saw that one. Oh, that was not a surprise to me. And we want you to get to the place where you realize that it never ever needs to be a surprise, because you are so aware of what you've been doing vibrationally, how you've been feeling, what's your mood or attitude been lately. Because what it's been lately is most likely what it's being now. And what it's being now is the vibration that you are outputting, which means law of attraction is responding to it. So how you feel is your point of attraction, isn't it? You've been listening to us for a while. You get all of that, don't you? You like being vibrational beings? Say yes, because you have no choice. You like being aware that you are vibrational beings? Now that's the difference. That's what sets you apart from most. Because once you know that you are a vibrational being, that means that you can offer your vibration intentionally. For a while we called this the science of deliberate creation, but you got too crazy about that. You thought too hard. And sometimes when you're thinking hard, when you say, oh, I didn't mean to think about that, 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 I shouldn't think about that, I'm not going to think about that, I'm not going to think about that anymore, I'm not going to think about that anymore, you know, I don't like to think about that, I used to think about that, but I don't like to think about that. And you're thinking about that when you're not meaning to think about that, and then you join together with other groups. Let's not think about this, you say. This is a group where we don't think these things. But there is no exclusion in this vibrational universe, is there? When you're thinking about what you're not going to think about, you're thinking about it, and you're offering a vibration about it. And so you get what you're thinking about, and you get what you're not thinking about when you're thinking about what you're not thinking about. In other words, there's got to be an easier way. And the easier way is not to monitor your thoughts. That makes you crazy. That makes you crazy. Monitoring thoughts is not the easy way, especially in this time-space reality. Have you looked around? Do you see what you've done? Do you know who you are? Do you know where you are? Do you know what's going on here? More stimulation of thought than ever before in all that has ever been. And we're not just talking about social media. We are talking about social media, but we're talking about all that you all are thinking about. There's lots to think about, lots to sift through. And if you are just giving your attention to whatever's the loudest, then you're letting the wrong criteria guide your attention. If you're giving your attention to what's gone wrong that you want to fix, you're choosing the wrong reason to focus. But if you care about the way you feel, and you have shown yourself just by application, if you've shown you, because words don't teach, strange we offer so many, if you have shown yourself that there is an absolute, visceral, discernible relationship that you can know, feel, sense, describe even, an emotional relationship, an emotional awareness to everything that you're focused upon, then in time, with some practice, you can begin guiding the direction of your thoughts to things that are more in keeping with feeling good, and then you've got it. Then you are really the deliberate creator that you were born to be. The key to being deliberate and having control over your point of attraction. Ooh, we love those words. Control over your point of attraction. You creating your own reality. You deciding what you want, and you setting the tone, and you practicing the tone, and you emitting the frequency deliberately, and you noticing what's coming in response to your deliberate offering of vibration. It just doesn't get any better than that. When you sync up with the source within you, when you sync up with all that you've been asking for, when you sync up with all that you have become, all that you have decided that you want, and all that you have already vibrationally become, that's when it gets a little dicey for some. You've already vibrationally become the vibrational version of every desire that this time-space reality has helped you to figure out. But sometimes you're not living it. Sometimes you can't yet see it. You can't hear it. You can't smell it or taste it or touch it. And you say, yeah, Abraham, there's not that much satisfaction, you know, in the vibrational version of things. And we say, but if you'll hang in there in satisfaction for the good feeling that you found when you focus upon what you want to be. What you want to be must be realized completely by you. And the only reason that sometimes you don't think it's going to be, or that it isn't yet, is because you're so aware of its absence that you block its presence from your realization. A few seminars ago, Esther and Sandy were moving around in the back hallways of the hotel. Esther calls it the belly of the whale. She loves being back there. They are so efficient and all different and very confusing. And Sandy goes ahead the night before with arrows, bright pink arrows, and she sticks them on the wall to mark Esther's path so that Esther won't have to roam around with you out in the... She likes that too. And so Esther is making her way with Sandy. They're following the arrows, and it's in a particularly confusing place. But they made their way back. They were having a very good time. And when they got to the back door to come into the room, the door was locked. So close, and yet so far. And Esther laughed because they had plenty of time, and Sandy went scurrying off, mad at herself a little bit because the door was locked. It hadn't been the night before, but someone had been very efficient and locked it up, and so they couldn't get in. And as Sandy was going to find someone, two women walked around the corner, and Esther said, "Do you happen to have a key to this room?" And one of them smiled and pulled it from her pocket and opened the door. And Esther was able to holler at Sandy so she didn't get too far away. We're in, we've made it in. We want you to realize that right around the corner is everything you want. The key to every closed door really is right around the corner. But you got to be in the place of allowing that to happen. There is always someone walking right around the corner with the key. Always, 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 always. But if you are in a bad mood, if you are disappointed in yourself or others, if you are feeling guilty or worried about something, if you've been beating the drum of injustice, if you've been practicing a frequency that translates right away into the manifestation of negative emotion, Did you hear how clever that was? Translates into the manifestation of negative emotion as opposed to translating into the manifestation of positive emotion. The emotions that you feel are the first translation. They are the first manifestation. It's the first evidence of being in the place where more of what you're wanting is coming. So we are eager to talk with you about anything that matters to you. Nothing is off limits here. You'll notice a nice unfolding as together we find a rhythm and scenarios that support what most of you have come to amplify or solidify in your own creative experience. You are magnificent creators, and life is supposed to be good for you. And you are supposed to manifest in real terms everything that you want. You are. That's what you signed on for. And you've been banging around in this physical experience, and you have come to many conclusions that are yours personally and that are wonderful, wonderful, wonderful things for you to want. It is our desire that you begin immediately to realize more of them, because there's just no excuse anymore not to. You know too much. You have the tools. You know about law of attraction. Law of attraction says you get what you think about. You know that you live in a vibrational universe, and you are understanding that you are emitting a vibration. And you know that your emotions let you know how you're doing with that. Your emotions are your indicator between the frequency of who you've really become with all of the desires that you've launched and who you're allowing yourself to be right here, right now. So what we're really talking about all day, every day, in terms of the effectiveness of your personal creation, in terms of the effectiveness of you getting what you want and fulfilling your purpose and living your dreams and living happily ever after in the way that you intend to. The thing that is the ratio, the thing that we're talking about all the time is the relationship between what you want and what you believe about it. What you want and what you believe about it. So if you want prosperity and you are so happy whenever you see someone who is living a prosperous life, then there's no discordance in your frequency. You're not introducing resistance. You are in perfect sync with your desire, and it's going to come right around the corner. But if you are seeking prosperity and you feel concerned about those who have already got it, if you feel envious about their success or angry at them for getting there first, or mad at yourself for not yet being there, those negative emotions are your indicator that there is a vibrational variance between your desire and your practice thought, and you just can't get there from there. You've got to change your frequency. You can't walk into a different room. You can't hang around with different people. It isn't about the action. You can't even get a different job. You can't even line up different ways for money to come to you. If you don't change the vibrational frequency, the doors are going to keep being locked. You're going to be walking down hallway after hallway after hallway, complaining longer and longer and louder as you go further and further into the depths of the belly of the well that won't yield to you what you want. But when you figure it out, that you can change the frequency, not all at once, it takes a little practice. You can't just all of a sudden start believing something that you haven't been believing, because a belief is just a thought that you keep thinking. And the reason that a belief is a thought that you keep thinking is because law of attraction causes a momentum about the thought that you keep thinking. So you think the thought, and law of attraction brings you another thought like it, which then you notice. And now you're thinking about that too. So in order to really understand law of attraction, and in order to really understand your point of attraction, in order to understand your point of attraction and the way law of attraction is responding to you, you have to, or it's easier if you will, put the word momentum in there, because law of attraction is all about momentum. So if this was your first day here, you'd be smaller and lighter your energy would be flowing in a lighter, easier way. You would still be loving yourselves. You would not hold any conflicting beliefs. Wouldn't have a lot of desire going on yet either. In other words, not much challenging, not much desire in those early days, and not much challenging it. But as you move through life, life causes you to launch more and more rockets of desire. When you know what you don't want, you know what you do want. So you're launching these rockets of desire, which are literally, we are not kidding you about this at all. It's literal to us because we can sense them on every level. It's not literal to you yet because you can't see it, hear it, smell it, taste it, touch it. But it is a vibrational reality. We've been calling it your vortex of attraction. And it is the sum of all that you've become. Part of it is who you were before you even came into this physical body. But you've been adding to it and adding to it and adding it to it. And there is a vibrational version of you that you can allow completely when you release your resistance. So, the best way to talk about momentum, if you've been listening to us for a while, have you been? Esther was shocked and amazed at the hills in San Francisco. She couldn't believe people actually lived on those hills. And she was even more surprised when she saw that they were driving on them. So imagine being at the top of one of those hills and you've decided that you're going to give yourself a real personal experience in momentum. So you take your car out of gear and you take the parking brake off and you just nudge it just a little bit just to see what will happen. And then right away you realize that you know what's going to happen and you change your mind about it. So you step right out in front of your car and you let it bump up against you. Doesn't even hurt. And it stops. And then you get back in and you set the parking brake and you say, yeah, that wasn't a very good idea. Because if you waited to try to stop the momentum of that vehicle, if you went to the bottom of the hill and tried to stop it, not a good idea. And yet that's what you sometimes do with beliefs that you hold. You try to stop a belief that's been barreling down the hill for a while, path of least resistance, and you say, oh, this belief doesn't serve me, I'm just going to think something different. And we say it is unlikely that you are just going to change your thought that rapidly. But it is helpful if you understand how it all works. And it's really helpful if you care about how you feel. Because if you care about how you feel, then you're going to begin to guide more of your thoughts in accordance with what feels good, which means you're going to begin to guide more of your thoughts in accordance with what has less resistance, which means you're going to be in a place where you're going to have more people walking around the corner with the key to more things that you want, because you are not vibrationally blocking it with beliefs that are not letting them in. You're following that, aren't you? So we're eager to talk with you about whatever it is you want to talk about. Don't worry about us. We will wedge our message in the crack. We just want you to understand that it's all about vibration and that it's much easier than you have been allowing it to be for yourself. And that from this point forward, within about 30 days of just paying attention to the way you feel, you can get a whole different vibrational set point going on, which means you're going to be different in this world to every relationship that you have with everything than you have ever been before. Because you're going to begin to offer different vibrational frequencies, which means your point of attraction is going to yield different things to you. There's just one thing that we want to say to you at the beginning of this. And this is a sort of, to help you to recognize that none of these words are really helpful to you at all unless something that you are living matches up with these words. So many of the things that you will hear from us today, you will feel resonance with them because the source within you knows them, and because your belief system is not in such opposition to them, you're allowing that knowing to flow through. When you feel true resonance with something, that means no resistance, and the whole of you is having this moment. But some things will challenge a little bit because you don't believe them yet. You don't believe in your prosperity as we know from seeing your vortex. You don't believe in your abundance of all things that you want in the way that we do. And so it's going to take some life experience that's going to help you to understand that. But here's how it works. When you think on purpose and then life experience delivers the results that you thought you would get from thinking on purpose, that is the best living that you can live. That's the best understanding that you can get, you see. Because words don't teach, it's only life experience. We're going to give you a piece of something that will help you so well, because if you are accepting that you live in a vibrational universe, do you? And if you are accepting that in this vibrational universe that law of attraction is the manager of that and that you are getting what you are thinking about, do you accept that? Then this is going to be very helpful to you. When you slumber, when you're asleep, your momentum stops. It subsides. Isn't that nice to know? Isn't it nice to know? Do you like knowing that? We like knowing that. We like you knowing that. We really, really want you to know that, because what that means is when you awaken in the morning, you are wobble-free. When you awaken in the morning, you don't have vibrational discord. And by wobble, we mean when you think about what you're wanting and then you think about the absence of what you're wanting, you're offering two vibrational frequencies at the same time, which causes a wobble in your vibration. When you think about what you want, only about what you want, law of attraction is going to add momentum to that, and what you want is going to get stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger until there's going to be a manifestation point. People who you see around you who are really thriving in incredible ways are those who don't have wobble in their vibration. They know what they want. They think about what they want. They don't doubt what they want. They believe what they want. So they're not introducing contradictory vibration. We've been calling that resistance through the years. Today we want to call it your wobble, because we want you to realize that you can do something about the wobble. When you say, I want that, I really want that, I've always wanted that, I really want that, I really want that, I've wanted that a long time, it starts to wobble. In fact, I really, really want this thing that I do not have. Wobble, 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 wobble. I want it, and you know, I'm not the only one who wants it. A lot of people want it. Can you feel the wobble getting bigger and bigger and bigger? It's just not right. So many of us who want this thing that we don't have, can you feel how big the wobble is getting? And so you can tell by the way you feel. When you have strong negative emotion about something, you've got a big time wobble going on. A wobble that is resistance, that is preventing you from the vibrational realization of what you want. Now what that means is, when we say vibrational realization, haven't you wondered? You have to have wondered. You just surely have to have wondered. If you've been listening to us for a while. Have you been listening to us for a while? We know. And as you've been listening to us for a while, and we've been talking to you about you create your own reality, you have to have wondered, all right, Abraham, I'll play your silly game. I'll do that process and that one and that one. I'll do a better job of lining up my vibration. I even accept the ridiculous thing you draw out here in the air that you call the vortex. I'll even accept that, maybe. But you have to have wondered, how do those ideas, how do those desires, how do those hopes and dreams, how do those vibrational realities, how do they get into your real life experience? How do you turn those thoughts to things? How do they become relationships and experiences? How do I get the money in the bank, Abraham? In the bank. I want to get it out of the vortex and into the bank, okay? How do I do that? And the way you do it is through the natural laws of the universe. The way you do it is by not keeping it out of the bank. That's the thing that we want you to understand. You just got to let the door open. You just keep it out. You stop keeping it out of the bank. Now, how's that? Don't do that anymore. That's not what we're saying. We want to talk about what you are wanting to do. So the way that things move or become from an idea, from a vibrational reality into something that you are realizing, is that you have to tune your frequency to the realization of it. Now we know you didn't want to hear that, but we needed to tell you that. You are the realizers. That's the best word that Esther can find. That's how manifestations occur. You realize them. You realize them by finding a frequency. And at first when you find it, it feels weird to you. Maybe it feels a little exciting for a moment. In fact, that's a moment of recognizing the full potential of your desire. You feel exhilarated about it for a moment. But if you don't shoot it in the foot, if you don't wrestle it to the ground and kill it with reality, if you don't but it to death, but what about this? What about this? Esther said to us in the beginning, Abraham, it's true. This thing that I know that you don't want me to talk about is a true thing. Don't you think that I should at least acknowledge that it is a true thing? And we said, there are all kinds of things in this world that are true that you want to live, and there are all kinds of things that are true in this world that you don't want to live. We would let whether you want to live them or not be the criteria for whether you give your attention to them. But Abraham, Esther said, it's such a big world and there are so many things out there. Am I supposed to put my head in the sand? We said, yes, and meditate. Am I supposed to put my head in the sand? Am I supposed to put my head in the sand and just pretend that those things aren't happening? And we say, you have choice in all of that. Just know that when you give your attention to things, momentum ensues. And eventually, you can create a belief that is so strong, a belief that is so strong that it will become your reality. You can also create a desire that is so strong that it can become your reality. So what's happening to you? What really happens? What makes the difference? Is your belief so strong or is your desire so strong? How does that play out? And we say, law of attraction gives you the exact balance that you've got going on. You can go a long way in cleaning up those desires. You can go a long way in improving those beliefs. You can go a long way in sifting and sorting your now reality, looking for positive aspects. You can go a long way in looking at what is and finding the things that feel the best. In other words, you have much more discernment. You have much more capability to offer vibration than you've been practicing. And we've written a lot of books with a lot of processes to help you practice, and we are impressed with the application that you've been offering. But today we want to say to you, it's so much easier if when you wake up in the morning, you just say to yourself, I could be wobble-free. I'm wobble-free for now. I'm wobble-free. I don't have to bring into this day the things that were bothering me yesterday. I don't have to do, oh, there it is. I brought it in already. When we first started talking to Esther about this, she didn't make it till breakfast before she was wobbling all over the place. In other words, because you got lots to think about and you've got these practiced thoughts. And we don't want you to be hard on yourself about beliefs that aren't serving you. But we do want you to be aware of what beliefs you have that serve you and what beliefs that don't. Esther will find herself moving through a day, and all of a sudden she'll find herself not feeling so good, sort of this subtle feeling of discomfort, and she will stop now and say, oh, I just uncovered something that I apparently have been thinking about long enough that it surfaced just now. What was I just thinking about that gave me that funny feeling in my stomach? Because when that happens, that's a little piece of resistance that is showing itself to you. And we're not really encouraging that you sit down right then and try to talk yourself out of it, because you will only add momentum to it. But recognizing it, and then at first opportunity, identifying what it is that you do want relative to that. And then the next day, start out thinking about what you do want. You will really be pleased with how quickly you can shift the vibrational frequency of your habits of thought. You can change your beliefs. Your beliefs are only thoughts that you keep thinking, and you don't have to continue to think unhelpful beliefs. Esther will say, well, that was unpleasant and unnecessary. Unnecessary, unpleasant, and unnecessary. So what we're really saying to you is, it is our powerful desire that you love yourselves as we love you, enough that you are willing to stop torturing yourself with unpleasant thoughts, that you will stop accepting negative emotion as just the way life has to be. You say things like, these are hard times. They are not hard times. You say things like, the economy's bad. The economy is not bad. Economy is an individual thing, and there are those who are thriving. Might as well be you. So, we're eager to talk with you. What do you want to talk about? There's a lot of trouble in this room. A lot of trouble. Begin